ESPN Radio. This is the Thundering Herd Podcast.
It's the Herd on ESPN Radio, wherever you may be, however you may be listening. Thanks for making us part of your day. Presented by Progressive Insurance. All of our guests via the Subway Fresh Take Hotline and simulcast on ESPNU. Thank you for being here. So DeAndre Jordan's a young guy, 26-year-old basketball player. He plays for the Clippers. And then this NBA free agency period where everybody tries to recruit everybody, you know, private jets, whining, dining. He's like, all right, I'm going to play for the Mavs. And then like a couple days later, he's like, I don't think I want to play for the Mavs. I want to go back to the Clippers. There was no paper, no contract. All right. I'm fine with it. What? Coaches leave all the time. Executives leave. I had an executive 20 years ago in this business look at me because I was thinking of leaving a radio station. Like, hey, what about loyalty? People love you here. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm staying. 2 days later, he took a job in Boston. Come on now. I'm going to beat up on DeAndre Jordan? Really? I mean, come on. He's a kid. Sales pitch. Wine, dine, private jets. Changed his mind. I'm going to go crazy on that. Here's my real takeaway, though. Dallas has got to change their free agency pitch. I mean, I like Mark Cuban, but let's see. Chris Paul, pass. Darren Williams, Andrew Bynum, Jeremy Lin, LeBron, Melo, Bosh, Dwight Howard, DeAndre Jordan. Whiff, pass. No thanks. See ya. Dallas has no state tax. It's a city with glamour. Take care of their players, great facilities, amazing owner, terrific head coach, reasonable cost of living, pretty girls everywhere. They can't land anybody. They got to change that pitch. After the Lakers and the Miami Heat, I'd put Dallas in a very small group of maybe the third best place in the league. I mean, I tend to think I get most things. Like most things in life, I'm like, oh, I get that. I don't have to love something to get it. Now, there's a handful of things in society I don't get. There's a handful of things. Why did we ever have cursive writing? Really? Was that a Ben Franklin thing? I mean, why did we ever really need cursive writing? We didn't really need it. Why did they hose the E on grades? You can get an A, B, C, D, or F. E's over there going, whoa! Yoo-hoo! Hello! I'm right after D before F. What's going on here? I never understand when I go to the dentist and he puts those clamps in my mouth. You know, it's like construction work. You ever notice that when you go to a dentist? And they always talk to you mid-drill. Hey, how you doing? How's your family? Oh, how's your job? How's ESPN treating you? You're like building a bridge in my mouth. Dentists always talk to you. Hey, how are things with the fam? I don't understand that. I don't understand why Dallas can't land better players. Everything works. They play in the glamorous West. It's a pretty glamorous city, right? No state tax. Great coach. Amazing owner. They've won a title recently. A history of success. Even Jeremy Lin whiffed on them yesterday. He passed. Chris Paul, Darren Williams, DeAndre Jordan, Dwight Howard, everybody. I don't get it. I can't figure it out. I don't have an answer. And I have an answer for most things. I mean, I've never really figured out why the pizza's round and the box is square. I've never figured out how you can be a great offensive coordinator, then an abysmal head coach. You know schematics, you know personnel, you're an expert on one side of the ball. All you do is get a different parking spot in a larger office. I don't understand why Tennessee football isn't better. Why aren't they Ohio State? Geography, money, tradition, facilities, fans. They're like Ohio State South. But Ohio State's always good and Tennessee's rarely good. I just don't get it. I don't get how L.A. doesn't have an NFL team and Jacksonville does. But I think one of the big I don't get it is why Dallas can't land anybody. I just don't. It would be in my top 3 or 4. Don't understand it. do not understand it. And let me just say this about DeAndre Jordan. Here's something you can't argue. LA's a better fit. Better point guard, better roster, better fit. The Clippers are a real team. They added Lance Stevenson. That's a real team. They could win the West. They're up there with Golden State, Houston. That's a real team. But a lot of people, you have to understand when it comes to young people. Okay, he's a 26-year-old kid. We got coaches who changed their mind. Rick Majerus was going to go to USC. Tim Floyd, I'm never leaving here. Remember Nick Saban when he was the coach of the Miami Dolphins?
I think I've said this over and over and over again. I'm not going to be the Alabama coach.
Excuse me. People change their mind. People change their mind. And as Tom Penn has said on this show, this is why they invented attorneys and contracts. This whole verbal agreement thing.
Verbal agreements don't mean squat. They mean nothing. Go back to Carlos Boozer giving a verbal agreement to the Cleveland Cavaliers on a full mid-level contract. He was signed, sealed, not signed, and not sealed. He had just said he was going back to Cleveland, and he left them at the altar. He ran the other way and went to Utah for a ton of money. It was unethical. It was wrong, but it wasn't illegal.
I don't even think it rises to unethical. I'm a handshake guy. But there's a reason we have attorneys and contracts. What DeAndre Jordan did is legal, and it happens every day when coaches leave universities. Coaches leave universities, and they're adult men. They're 40, 50 years old. They leave. A 26-year-old kid who's being pitched by billionaire owners, private jets, whining and dining, can't change his mind. Come on now. God, I follow high school football recruiting. There was a kid last year, Chris Clark, a terrific tight end. He went from Michigan to USC to UCLA in an hour and a half. Come on. You got to give kids a break. They're 26 years old. They make money. You know, it's a very short time span they can make it. I'm giving DeAndre Jordan, like any young kid, a pass. I don't think it rises even to unethical. Start your day at Subway, bacon, egg, cheese, topped with new guacamole. Subway, eat fresh. This is what Mark Cuban posted on his Cyber Dust account. Dear Mav fans, there will be a time when I detail everything I know regarding the last 48 hours. Right now is not the time to say it. I don't think this time is right. Beyond the facts that DeAndre never responded to me at all, not once. To this minute, I have not heard anything from him since Tuesday night. More importantly, I specifically told Wes that I would not hold him to his commitment if he wanted to go elsewhere. I can't print his exact response, but suffice it to say he's excited to play for our Mavs. Wes Matthews is exactly the type of player we want in a Mavs uniform, and our fans will love him. He'll be in Dallas today, so if you see him, give him an MFL welcome. What is that? Mavericks, Mavs for life, thing forever. So there you go. I have more on DeAndre Jordan. Adam Schefter had a story on a great NFL player yesterday that blew his hand off in a fireworks accident. I'll talk about that. Should have Adam Schefter have posted the picture. We have a lot here. We got. This is one of these days that, considering it's a slow time of the year, we've got all sorts of stuff. But I see people beating up on a 26-year-old kid, and oh, this is that, and this is that. He is a kid. He's a baby, man. I'm double his age. And he has a right to be human. And I think when all these people pitch, you get caught up in the moment. You get caught up in the moment.
Want more of the Herd? The Thundering Herd Podcast.
J.J. Watt voted best player in the NFL by the NFL Network. Still wouldn't pay him $20 million a year. But I'll talk about that later. All right, so here's the story. So Jason Pierre-Paul is a really good player for the New York Giants, who are my one sleeper to win the Super Bowl this year. I'll get into that later someday. But he's a really good pass rusher. They used to have about 4 good pass rushers. Now he's about it. And he was playing with fireworks, and he, blew a finger up, It happens. Every year, fireworks and speedboats, guys get in trouble. So he posted a video of himself getting the fireworks. Don't we have sound on that or something? He's just kind of in a U-Haul truck or something like that.
Talk about fireworks on the ground. Ooh, you better.
Okay, that's just embarrassing. That was actually JPP. Play that tape again, literally. This is him before he blew his hand up.
Talk about fireworks on the ground. Ooh, you better.
All righty then. So anyway, everybody knew he was in trouble. That story was out. And then in the hyper-aggressive world of NFL reporting, which is Jay Glazer, Peter King, Albert Breer, Ian Rappaport, Adam Silver, Adam Schefter, Mike Silver, I mean, all these guys make a living, pursuing NFL stories. And if you don't break them, somebody else does. And the NFL breaking stories and NBA breaking stories, it's very competitive and people care. A lot of the baseball breaking stories are forgettable. It's the number one league in America, and being an NFL beat writer is the most glamorous beat right now in the world. If you're in America, if you're in England, being a beat writer for the English Premier League is a big deal. If you're in the NFL, being a beat writer, you want to have the White House or the NFL. It's a pretty big deal. And so they're in the information business, and I tend to give all those guys a little bit of leeway. Nobody bats 1,000. They make mistakes. Everybody does. Fans can be ridiculously, harsh when a guy whiffs. Nobody bats 1,000. Nobody bats. Peter King's made mistakes. Albert Breer, Glazer, Schefter. Sources. I've had sources just lie. So yesterday, Schefter takes a picture. He gets medical records. Posted it on the thing about they had to amputate like the finger for JPP, and people are like, whoa, that's unethical. Well, no, it's not, because HIPAA laws don't apply to the media who obtain medical records of others. Doesn't apply to us. We do it all the time in the media. And also, it's up to the hospital to not leak it. Somebody there could get fired or sued. So the story is really about two things: the player losing a finger and the hospital leaking information. On a third level, which is not nearly as important, Adam Schefter posted a pic of the medical records of the amputation. Now, I will say this. Adam's safe legally. HIPAA doesn't apply to news organizations. I probably wouldn't have posted it myself. And here's the way I would look at it. The currency here is actually the information. Adam Schefter had the information. Even if I had a picture, I probably wouldn't publish it. I'd keep it in my camera roll. So if my bosses asked me, I'd say, here it is. I got it. I probably wouldn't go there for two reasons. I wouldn't want to be, it has a litigation feeling from a hospital. Could I get somebody sued at a hospital? Could I get somebody fired at a hospital? And I'd try to stay out of that. I don't like firing people. I have a feeling if I show you the picture, it would indict somebody. They'd look at the picture and go, oh, that's off that printer. That comes from that hospital and that ward and that floor. I'd have this kind of sensibility that I probably wouldn't have posted it. But let's not make this the story. The story is the athlete losing a finger and the hospital leaking it. It's not the reporter aggressively pursuing and legally a picture of the medical records. So, that a lot of it's fake outrage. Let's be honest about NFL information. All of you are crack addicts and junkies and meth addicts when it comes to breaking NFL news. You are. I'll never listen. Really? You've got something on your Browns. Oh, my bad. How do I get to Insider? We're all junkies on NFL breaking news. So, and I give these guys a lot of leeway. All of them. Breer, King, Silver, Schefter, Glazer. I give them all a lot of leeway because it's like critics who criticize me. I'm filling 12 segments a day, 10 minutes I'm doing 30 columns a day. You don't think I'm going to have a bad, clunky sentence or be an idiot once in a while? Get over it. It doesn't take any talent to be a critic and go, last Tuesday he said, come on, nobody does perfect shows. Nobody's a perfect reporter. Nobody bats 1,000. I probably wouldn't have posted the picture of the medical records, but I'd have given out the information. To me, that was the currency. But I'm not angry. I don't think it rises to, players. Again, Twitter got all worked up on stuff. What a shock. Twitter gets worked up on everything.
Geico presents Strange Savings Stories. Astronomers detected an interstellar transmission. It stated, Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. The implications were staggering. Was the cosmos telling us we could all save hundreds on car insurance with Geico? Or did their radar merely pick up a signal from the nearby Rufus and Clyde's morning show? We may never know.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
I saw this. NFL Network, they do their annual ranking of the top 100 players in the NFL. And I've gotten some heat, mostly social media heat, which is irrelevant. But I've said about J.J. Watt, I love him on my team, but there's limitations on what I'm going to pay him. I'm not going to pay him quarterback money. There's a big difference between value, talent, and pay. All three are separate categories. And so, this morning some people are like, oh, Colin, J.J. Watt, best player in the NFL. Guess you won't pay him. No, I'd pay him. I'm not paying him $20 million a year. Listen, I don't disagree if you think J.J. Watt's the best player in the NFL. I'm not really. I think there's about 12 guys in the NFL that are just unbelievable. Aaron Rodgers, J.J. Watt, Andrew Luck, Calvin Johnson, Richard Sherman, Luke Kuechly, Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas, Tom Brady, Dez Bryant, Antonio Brown, Gronk. They're just different. They're just different. You can rank any of them number one. But again, value, pay, and talent are three separate categories. I still wouldn't pay J.J. Watt, Andrew Luck, or Aaron Rodgers money. Okay, so LeBron's the most valuable, talented guy in the NBA. He's not going to be the highest paid guy in the NBA this year. Okay, if you look at NBA salaries, it's outrageous that Tristan Thompson will probably make 75% of what LeBron does. Why? Because the NBA has a max contract, and the NBA has always fought for the middle class, lack of a better term, NBA player. Tristan Thompson shouldn't make 12% of what LeBron does. So, when I'm paying, at ESPN, if you really think about it, the people that should make the most money in our society are doctors or surgeons because they save lives. Teachers are great. They don't save lives. Mayors are important. They don't save as many lives. Doctors and surgeons should probably make the most money in society. But a 29-year-old hedge fund kid trading paper can make 9 times that. So, in the end, look at ESPN. I would say the most talented people we have at ESPN, they're often behind the scenes. Editors, producers. We got a reporter named Don Van Natta. He's an investigative guy. He's amazing. But because of the scarcity of investigative reporting, you just don't do many stories because it takes so long to get a story out. A great investigative reporter may have 2 stories a year because it takes you forever. I probably couldn't pay him what I could pay somebody that was on every day delivering commerce. This is a business. We're not a .org. That doesn't mean he shouldn't be well compensated, but a lot of people confuse talent with value, value with pay, pay with talent. J.J. Watt's great. I'm not paying him near what I pay Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers touches the ball 72 times a game. J.J. Watt touches it every other week once. So that's just the way it is. And so, yeah, I have no problem saying J.J. Watt's the best player in the league. I wouldn't dispute that. I think Luke Kuechly could be the best football player in the league. J.J. Watt, Antonio Brown's really special for Pittsburgh. I mean, let's be honest. Can anybody guard Gronk? Linebackers can't. He's too fast for linebackers. He's too big for safeties or corners. I mean, Gronk is sort of the J.J. Watt on the other side of the ball. He's just a physical mismatch. Nobody matches up with Gronk. Nobody matches up with J.J. Watt. I don't think Gronk deserves half of what Tom Brady makes. The other story today is that DeAndre Jordan is going to be an L.A. Clipper and was an L.A. Clipper. And then the Dallas Mavericks went out and sales pitched him, and he's like, all right, I want to be a Maverick. And then he decided after sleeping on it, you know what, my bad, I want to be a Clipper. And everybody today is outraged. This is terrible. Stop blaming the player. Start blaming the NBA. The NBA could end this easily. They'd say, all right, free agency period starts on Monday at noon and ends Friday at midnight. Anybody who reports anything before the ink is dry on a contract, $50 million fine. Any agent involved in a story that goes to the press, out of business for a year with our league. And it would never happen. But agents promote it. The owners celebrate it. They want their fans to get all worked up. It gets leaked to the press. Only thing that gets leaked to the press is stuff people want leaked to the press. You've got secrets that will never get to the press. You don't want them. A lot of you guys having affairs. Your wife can't even find out. How do you think all these dollar figures end up? How do you think all these stories end up? Agents leak them, teams leak them, want to get people excited, drive season ticket sales. So, I mean, everybody's clobbering DeAndre Jordan. These billionaires, I don't know Mark Cuban's track record, but has Mark Cuban ever had a lawsuit? Has he ever had a deal reneged? I know he had a situation with Belo Broadcasting years ago. I don't know the specifics, but should the kid have called Mark Cuban? Probably, but life's imperfect. I mean, you get into these situations. I will say this. 90% of the guys that call a radio show have never had two companies vying over you, have never been wined and dined. It's not like it's happened a lot to me, but it's happened occasionally in my life. You get wined, you get dined. There's some emotions. You get a few cocktails in you. Everybody's like, you the man. DeAndre Jordan's like, yeah, I'm the man. I'm going home. I wouldn't be surprised if Mark Cuban invited him to dinner and then he told the maitre d' at the restaurant, hey, crank up that CD I gave you. DeAndre, I'm Mark Cuban. Ribeye on me. Pinot Gris on me. And I got that playing on the speakers at some steakhouse, Del Frisco's in Dallas. DeAndre's like, but I love Blake Griffin. I do hate Chris Paul, but I love Blake Griffin. I love Los Angeles. Doc Rivers is my guy. I'm going to be a Mav.
You know he's from Houston, right?
Yeah, close. Dallas, Houston, Texas, no state tax, humid in the summer, whatevs. You're ruining my buzz. I want to go back and be a Clipper. I mean, do colleges stop recruiting after a verbal commitment? No. I mean, come on. Mike, you're in the herd on ESPN Radio. Mike, go ahead.
Colin, you absolutely nailed it this morning because people are just hating on him. I mean, it's not like he went to Houston or the Lakers or the Knicks. He was signed with the same team. And you're right, he's a young kid. He had time to think about it. And the guys he played with and loved pulled him back. So kudos to him for going back to the fans that love him. And I hope that they're appreciative to him. And everybody else who complains, I'm a Laker fan, and I can acknowledge it's just hating, Colin. Thanks for the time.
Listen, the other thing, thank you, Mike, is the Clippers are a better fit. He got a better contract. He's got a better team. Look at that team right now. DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, Lance Stevenson, J.J. Redick, Jamal Crawford, Paul Pierce. It's a better team. It's a better team. It's a better fit. It's a better contract.
Want more of the herd? The Thundering Herd Podcast.
Hey, Stanzik, you're a jogger. You know what I was doing at 5:45 this morning?
Hitting the snooze button?
Yeah, no. Got out of bed this morning, went and ran around a big old park, like 5:45 in the morning. Uncle Ronaldo out there with the birds. It's incredible. Nothing better than jogging in the morning. There's nobody out there. Plus, now I live in a sweat block, so I have to get out there before 9, or it feels like Brazil. I was one with nature. I was like Father Nature, like 5:45. The birds and me. Jogging past this little lake area, deer 4 feet from me. And I'm like, can deer kill people? Because it turned its head and looked at me, and I thought, they're angry. I ran a little faster. Okay, now I'm just wasting people's time. I just got something from my friend Scott McCain that scares the living you-know-what out of me. I ran by a deer this morning. And he said, sharks kill 5 people annually. Deer kill 130. Hippos also kill 2,900 people annually, but I've never seen a hippo. Yeah. Deer kill I was jogging, and I came around a corner, and I saw a deer. And I'm like, well, doesn't look like a predator, but he's got the ability to kick me. And so I just ran as fast as I could. It says here deers are one of the leading animal killer of humans. Seriously. It says ants kill 30 people annually. Now that's just... From now on, I'm going to go jogging with a crossbow. That's incredible. It's like Hunger Games out there.
You're in the herd. The Thundering Herd Podcast.
By the way, my audience is now attacking me because I said I saw a deer running this morning, and then Scott McCain, who's a listener, freaked me out and sent me a tweet that said deers kill 150 people, and they're the biggest killers, and it freaked me out, and I said it's like Hunger Games out there. I'm going to have to jog with a crossbow. And then now a bunch of people are attacking me, saying I'm an idiot. So, Dylan, why am I dumb?
You're not dumb. I was just hoping that you knew that it was about running into it with a car rather than it attacking you while you're jogging.
Yeah, I know that now. Stanzik could have given me a heads up.
I was going to correct you, but it was so much funnier to have you in fear and running with a crossbow.
It freaked me out.
And we were really late, so I didn't want to extend the conversation.
All right, Dylan. Yeah, I got like 4 texts. People are like, Colin, that's car accidents. They're not stone-cold killers. Because when I ran by the deer, and I looked at, it was only like 5 feet from me. Like I ran, our eyes met. It was eating like leaves, and it turned over its shoulder and looked at me, and I looked at it, and I was like, I'm going to put my head down. Because sometimes with animals, if you look them in the eye, it ticks them off. And I was literally looking at it, and I was thinking that thing would kill me in a second. It's got a cloven hoof and stuff. Like, I'm dead. It kicks. They're all muscle, too. They have no fat. Like, they're like 1,000% muscle. So I saw that stat that Scott McCain sent me. I'm like, my God, I was almost killed this morning. Wouldn't that be terrible? Like, if I was going to die, I'd be like Cowherd beaten senseless by deer. That's the worst sportscaster death ever. Bambi is a serial killer. Huffington Post. Anyway. The ESPN Radio presented by Progressive. Call or click today. Find out how much they could save you. You know, I like to be inclusive, right? If you listen to the show, I like to give America a big bear hug, right? I want to be inclusive. Sometimes I get preachy on that. The world's changing. You better include, not exclude. But I got limitations. Okay, I'm not inviting everybody to every party. You got to earn your way in. The NFL just got closer to putting a team in London. Oh, really? Great. Tottenham's new stadium will host at least 2 NFL games per season for 10 years. Don't love that. When it opens in 2018, the team and league announced on Wednesday, it looks like an NFL stadium, retractable grass field, artificial turf field. And later down here it says the NFL is considering moving a team to the NFL eventually. That's dumb. You think you're going to get 50 players who want to live in Tottenham? No shot. What top executive, free agent, scout, college kid wants to live in London? Most college kids think London is a dancer. You can't get NBA free agents to Toronto. And basically, it's a white-collar Buffalo. Toronto is us. And Toronto's a world-class city. Banking center, global commerce. They have their own stock exchange. Film festival, CN Tower, diverse. It's a biz hub, an art hub, a technology hub. You can't get a free agent to Toronto. You're going to get them to Tottenham? You're never going to have a guy in the market. Yeah, let's see. I can go to the Cowboys or Tottenham. I don't think that's a very good idea. I mean, you can't get NBA guys to Toronto. Beautiful women. It's Buffalo with a little sophistication. You can't get them there. I mean, Toronto, all these, cities on the border with America. Toronto is America. Toronto, Vancouver, BC, they're like they're us. This need to have teams, everybody wants to have this global space, grow. Not every business is built to be global. Like, can't you just have a bakery and it's in your town and it's a good bakery? Does everybody have to expand all the time? Sometimes a business is better regionally. It's better locally. Not everything has to be Starbucks. Every time you expand, to me, you dilute the quality. There's nothing wrong with having a local delicacy. Regional favorites are great. I don't think the SEC is better if you have a team in, Dusseldorf. Just keep them in the South. That's where people love it. I don't think you have to franchise everything. The NFL's fine here. It's our sport. They don't have to love it. They're not going to get free agents want to go play over there. No way.
And now, for Geico's edition of Stuff Found in Your Car, we go inside your side door pocket.
Hello, yes, the crumpled receipt with gum in it. From your anniversary dinner, you sprang for expensive wine, your server was Beth. That dinner was a couple $100. Money you could get back if you switched to Geico and saved hundreds of dollars on your car insurance. I bet you'd save that receipt, frame it even. But really, where did I go wrong? Was it the corkage fee?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com today.
We've had a lot to talk about, even though it's the slowest time of the year. It's kind of the death valley of sports, like July 5th to about September 5th. I guess in late August you can start talking about some NFL camps. So it played out on Twitter last night, the emoji wars circus last night. Twitter at its worst is sad and pathetic and angry. At its best, it's very funny. Last night it was very funny. DeAndre Jordan was a Clipper. Then somebody swayed him, said, I want to be a Mav. And then last night decided, I'm going to go be a Clipper. Like, my 5 takeaways are, number 1, he changed his mind. So what? We do it with weddings, businesses, relationships all the time. Mark Cuban has changed his mind. He's on that Shark Tank thing. You ever seen that Shark Tank show? It's very good. They don't really do their due diligence when they say they're going to have a deal. They say, okay, we got a deal. Then they go look at the paperwork and the fundamentals, and they're like, oh, this is not a very good company. They back out of stuff. So, DeAndre Jordan changed his mind. I've been following recruiting, high school football recruiting for years. Kids waffle and change their mind all the time. That's why coaches don't feel bad backing out, because players back out every 15 minutes. The second thing is, it's a cutthroat business. You recruit until the bell rings. The Clippers did what was necessary to keep recruiting. Number 3 is DeAndre Jordan is a much better fit with the Clippers. He made the better decision going back. And my advice to anybody with any offer is take the offer that allows you to be the best you. Chris Paul makes him a much better player than the guards could make him for Dallas. Number 4 is, well, Colin, he didn't even call the Mavs. Yeah, I don't love that. I would. But, when people leave sometimes, they don't want to give the people they leave another shot to lure them in. They see it perhaps as a weakness. I made my mind up. That's it. And number 5, Colin, he gave his word. It's a handshake agreement. It's got to mean something. It mostly does, and it certainly does to me, but there's a reason lawyers and contracts exist. Until it's on paper, it doesn't mean much. Tom Penn used to be a GM in this league, and he told us, you got to get it on paper, man.
Verbal agreements don't mean squat. They mean nothing. Go back to Carlos Boozer giving a verbal agreement to the Cleveland Cavaliers on a full mid-level contract. He was signed, sealed, not signed, and not sealed. He had just said he was going back to Cleveland, and he left them at the altar. He ran the other way and went to Utah for a ton of money. It was unethical, it was wrong, but it wasn't illegal.
And as Mark Stein said 30 minutes ago on this show, okay, he said to Dallas, I want to be a Mav. He didn't change his mind last night. Okay, the next morning, he woke up and had second thoughts.
DeAndre Jordan gave the Mavs his commitment last Friday and then went back to Houston. And the sense I get is that the second thoughts started pretty soon after that, he got around people in his Houston circle, his back home circle, and started questioning the decision. And then once he took it to Blake Griffin, his Clipper buddy, and said, I'm having second thoughts about this, it really got the wheels turning and led to quite a July 8th fireworks display. That was a new one.
Again, The way it plays out in the media is makes his mind up, it's rock solid, and then last night keeps him hanging. No, it's like made his mind up, went to bed, woke up in the morning and thought, oh, crap. I don't know if this is right. I mean, don't we always have the saying, sleep on it? We talk about this all the time. Parents tell kids, sleep on it.
So then DeAndre Jordan shouldn't have given his word.
I'll give
he
you
should have slept on it. That's what you're saying.
I'll give you an example. When people, and this has happened to me a couple times in my life, when I was in Portland, when I was in Vegas, a couple times people come after you, right? They want you to work for them across the street because you're beating them in ratings, and they're like, I'd like to have that guy. And they come and they make that pitch, and they're like, that Cowherd guy is crushing it. Let's go take him to dinner. All right, you do it, blah, blah, blah. And you know what they're trying to do during that whole dinner? What do you think they're trying to do?
They're selling you. They're pitching you. They're telling you you're great.
Okay, yeah. But what do they do right before the end?
Oh, they're trying to get you to sign. They're trying to get you to agree.
No. They're trying to get you to shake their hand. They put it out there. You don't want to shake hands. You want to sleep on it. And they go, hey, deal? You know how many guys have put their hands out to me? Deal? And you shake it because you're not a schnook. But all these football coaches do this. Manipulate. You're gonna be a hokey. You're gonna be a Buckeye, and they put the hand out there and they look you in the eye. They're doing that as part of the sales pitch to guilt you into it. And they look you in the eye, and Urban looks you in the eye. You're gonna be a Buckeye. Tight end starting 80,000. That kid's like, yeah, pressure, hand out, grab, shake it, high five, leave. You get home, you wake up, and you're like, I don't want to shake his hand. Be persuasive. By the way, you women do the same thing to poor, unsuspecting men. You ply them with alcohol, try to get them to get you a ring. You walk by Kay Jewelers, put your arm around them, give them a kiss on the cheek. Man, I love you more than ever. I know how you walk. You walk through a mall. She ignores you. Then you get by Kay Jewelers. Oh, let's go to my place tonight. Okay, I'll marry you. It's a big sales pitch. The world's a big sales pitch.
Colin Cowherd. The Thundering Herd Podcast.
Colin, anybody house hunting can relate to DJ of the Clippers. You see a house, you see all the good things, you're being sold on that house and decide, yeah, I see myself in that house. You make an offer, you continue the process. However, nothing is contracted until the closing date. And then before closing, an inspection is done. It may uncover a thing you don't like. While you're waiting for things to take place, you see another house that may be better. All in all, you back out even though you said you'd buy the house. That seller may be upset, but there's nothing they can do until everything is signed for. Thomas in Parsippany, New Jersey. It is very similar to that. The process of buying a house is chock full of checking, double checking. People come in and look at the house. Then you come look at it again. You have the first down payment, and then about 3 weeks later, the second down payment. You can back out at any time. I mean, I'm in the process of doing some of that stuff right now, buying and selling a house. And, this is the way it works. It's constant negotiating. I thought I liked it. You barter on the price. Nothing signed, but you thought you had a deal. And people can bail on you at the very last second. Well, don't get into that business if you're going to be offended by it. It's the reality of the business. And I'm getting a lot of guys today. There's a right way and a wrong way. Colin, a man is only worth his word. Yes, in a perfect world, that is right. But look at the way our judicial system is set up. We've got courts, appellate courts, Supreme Courts, because people back out of things and want to do things that are not contracted, and we sue each other, and they end up in a bigger court to decide with a jury and a judge. I mean, that's the way it works. There's disputes all the time. You said you're in, now you're out. I don't think this rises to the volcanic eruption we're hearing. I just think it's business. Jim, you're in the Herd on ESPN Radio. Go ahead.
Hey, Colin, first of all, thanks. Love your show.
Thanks.
And I can understand where you're coming from. Listen, I was in the league 14 years, played on 12 teams.
Wow.
And I didn't like the way DeAndre didn't respond back, but I'm going to tell you on a couple of occasions, When I was in Golden State, Gary St. Jean, after the year, sat me down, basically asked me, did I want to come back? I said, yeah, I was a free agent. He said, well, we want you back. We're going to sign you back. Didn't hear anything after that, after he told me that. Situation, I was in Philly, Larry Brown. I want to trade you to a, playoff caliber team. I got contacts in San Antonio. Well, right before the game, he trades me, and I end up going to Golden State. So it's situations, Colin, and you're correct in this situation where owners and management do it all the time. And when a player does it, it's almost like it's blasphemy. But at the same time, I think DeAndre should have called back, been a man about it in regards to talking to Mark and telling them reasons why.
Yeah.
And at least Mark can deal with that. But in regards to it being wrong, he made a decision buyer's remorse. He thought better of it, better situation. And I'm not mad at him. I just didn't like the way maybe, to me, that he should have went back and talked to Mark about it.
So you played 14 years, 12 teams, and in your career, there were a handful of times. Can I guess who this is?
Yep.
Jim Jackson.
You know it.
That's right. Your son's a good player, isn't he? Your son's a really good player.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He got some good genes. I guess got it from his mother.
Well, you're a good-looking guy, too. You can play that. So you basically had in your life a couple of times where people said one thing and did another.
Oh, big time. I mean, it was commonplace in regards to what ownership would tell you. They would tell you one thing in regards to getting a pulse and feel of what you wanted to do, especially when you're a free agent. And again, the Golden State thing is your post-season meeting. Basically I was about 23, and they're like, listen, Jimmy, we want you back. Do you want to come back? I said, yeah, no problem. Next thing you know, I didn't hear anything. I'd rather you tell me in that post meeting that, listen, we got options here. It may happen. It may not. At least as a player, I can understand it. But when I'm sitting there across the table from you, and that's what you say. Now, again, your ownership, you can do what you want.
Yeah.
But don't get mad when a player chooses to do the same thing. Okay? And that's what ends up happening is that, like, the owner now is slapped in the face like, oh, I can't believe he did that to me. Well, owners do it all the time.
By the way, we got a minute left, Jim Jackson. What is it about Dallas from a player's perspective? Why do they whiff on so many free agents?
I've lived in Dallas 20 years. I just sold my place. I love Dallas. But it's something, I don't know if it's culturally, if it's Mark Cuban. Yeah, he's a great salesman. But I don't know if players really view Dallas as a championship contending team, even though they won it. But that was when convergence of things came together. But like you said, Colin, I don't see where the big-time free agent, you have no state tax. Cost of living is great. I mean, beautiful surroundings, great arena. Everything is treated fairly. But for some reason, I don't think your top free agents view Dallas as the place where I can lay my hat and say, this is where my career. Older guys, maybe, yes, but the young top free agents, it's just something there. I can't put a finger on it.
Yeah, you broke into the league with the Mavericks in '92. Hey, thanks for calling and listening to the show, Jim.
You got it. Anytime, man.
Jim Jackson. That was a good surprise guest. All right, let's hear it for Jim Jackson. Yeah, Jim! Always applause for guys that show up unscheduled. Yeah, he broke in with the Mavericks. He bounced around a lot. Yeah,
he played with Legler.
He played with what?
With Legler.
Oh, did he play with Legler?
Yeah, on that Mavs team.
He was an Ohio State kid. Good-looking guy, Ohio State kid. He's like a shooting guard. Could play a little 3, but a 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he could handle the rock a little bit. He was the 4th pick in the '92 NBA draft. He was a great college player from Toledo. 6'6", 220. How about that? He gave us his number. That was nice. All right, I'm out of here. Is today Thursday? Ever since that deer scared me earlier today, I don't even know what day it is. ESPN Radio presented by Progressive Insurance. Save hundreds in your car, business, or recreational vehicle insurance from a local independent agent. Go to Progressive.com today. You're always listening to The Herd. You can get it on the TuneIn Radio app. So tomorrow is Friday, and we round out the week. Pretty entertaining week as far as we're concerned. We'll see you tomorrow.
I am so pumped. Check out The Herd with Colin Cowherd weekdays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPNRadio.com, and on ESPNU. The Thundering Herd Podcast.